In this video we're going to be removing these brackets. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click name target, make sure it's selected and that the scan is called target. The next thing is I'm going to shift right click to place my cursor, and I'm going to click P on the keyboard, or I can click points. I can click copy point and then use the G key to grab it, or even easier, use Shift D and just duplicate by using Shift D. Now make sure you're placing these spheres in the center of the brackets, because this sets a foundation of where we're going to have our line drawn around the bracket. So make sure it's sort of in the center of our perimeter. Next we're going to click on draw line, and then this will give us a hypothetical example where the line is. Now we can decide where we're going to finish it, and also note that this line has been offset from the model. We need to make 100% sure that the line does not intersect the model. So for example over here it intersects the model. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use G to grab these points, and of course I want to decide where I'm going to finish and end this cut. So this seems to be okay. So here for example I'm going to use G and grab. With the mouse wheel I can select the how much of my movement I want to move. This is the proportional editing tool, which is found over here. So if I for example wanted to link all of these vertices, I can go Control L to link them, and then I can scale, and then that will scale the entire selection in one go instead of moving them individually. So that one seems to be okay. And so we press the H to hide, so that's my mistake on the keyboard, instead of using the G key. So here I'm going to use the G key and just grab and just position it where I want the cut to happen. So in this instance I'm going to left click Control L on the keyboard, will link all of them in the selection, use S and then scale it outwards like this. If I do want to add a vertex to the selection, I will left click on one, shift left click on the other one, click right click and then subdivide, and that will put another vertex in the center of the two neighboring vertices. Here Control L and use the S key to scale, and the same thing, Control L, scale. I may in the future put something on the menu where you can just click on that and scale automatically. Control L and then scale it outwards a little bit. That's good. Here we've got a bit of a blunder. Use the G key to grab and make sure. Now I can't see the other vertices, so I'm going to go in transparent mode to see what is going on. Clearly I don't have enough vertices. I'm going to take one and then I'm going to use the G key and then pull it outwards. So this is just a little bit of a more in-depth video to show how to do this. If you want to put more into this, more vertices, I can go Control L to link them, and I can make sure all of these are linked and then subdivide. Now I've got many more points that have been added to my selection. And again, I want to make sure where I'm going to cut this off. Alright, that seems to be okay. Here, for example, Control L, and I'm going to just scale this outwards a little bit. And I want to make sure I'm going to take this and cut it all the way. Make sure the entire bracket is cut off. And then once I'm done, I'll just give it a quick another inspect. Sometimes you may see that you've got something like this happening. Sometimes you've got a line which comes like that, and then you've got another vertex here, for example. So if that happens, just select that vertex, and then you're going to click on right click. So you're going to click on X and delete the vertex to make sure it's one line. So this hasn't happened in this example, but just to understand how that works. Okay, so this all seems to be okay, and now I'm going to click on Trim. And then we need to select the mesh that we want to keep, and then click on Clean. If there is an occasion, for example, where the bracket has not been cut off, then Control Z, go back, and then just reposition that line a little bit differently. The last step is for me to make sure that I have a good decent mesh structure underneath, because if I go into edit mode, I may find that we may have problem areas. It's not always the case, but there could be an event where we have problem areas. So in order to avoid that, we will click on Smooth Object, and then we can give it a quick brush over. So please note that we have something called Dynatopo here. So if I go into edit mode, for example, just to inspect the mesh, I've got a nice clean mesh as opposed to its neighboring teeth. So this is what we want to strive for. So if I go out of edit mode, I will lose the Dynatopo. So make sure when you sculpt, the Dynatopo is always added, because only in this way we will get a remeshing effect happening. So we can just give it a quick smooth over. And of course Blender has a lot of different smoothing options which you can make use of. You can flatten and you can bulge them out. So it all depends. I won't spend too much time on these tools at the moment. So when you're done, we're going to click on exit. So I'll just short this video a bit. So I'm going to exit the sculpt, and then we will extrude the model. So I'll just fast forward this quickly. One last thing with the sculpt tool, we've got a dropper here. So it's a good idea to select the underlying mesh density of your actual tooth, so that we can get a similar view, a similar mesh. And then once we're done, we will click on exit. We'll go to the model designer, and we will then extrude this model. And that then completes the video.